My name is April Johnson. I am a business and technology teacher in Slayton, Minnesota. And I'm here this morning to keep an eye on your questions. So if you have those, feel free to pop them in chat. If there's something you have to share with the group as well, please pop that into the chat and we'll keep an eye on that. And with that, I will introduce Rick from Bloomington, and he will be talking to you today about using Google Classroom as your primary or secondary LMS.
Good morning, everyone. This is usually when my dog starts barking when I turn on my presenter voice. But my name is Rick Ballou. I teach 5th grade instrumental music in Bloomington, Minnesota. One of the things about Bloomington is instrumental music is required of every student, and we provide an instrument for every child. And so I became quite the Google Classroom master, and then things changed, as we're well aware. So I had created, this was just this year, a Google Classroom for each of the 10 schools and for each of the instruments. So I had, I believe it was 110 Google Classrooms that I ended up creating. And then when we went to distance learning, our district decided Seesaw was going to be the LMS of choice for the elementary students. So I immediately had to learn Seesaw, but also how to incorporate Seesaw and Google Classroom. So a lot of this is going to be kind of basics of Google Classroom and how it plays nice. So you could either do Google Classroom as your main learning management system or as a supplemental or secondary learning management system. The bit.ly is right here, and April will pop that into the chat. I believe she has already, and let's begin. Again, I'm not just a band teacher, I'm also a Google certified trainer, innovator, and ISTE certified educator. So EdTech is kind of my jam. Anyway, our training schedule is as follows. We'll discuss Google Classroom basics. I'll create a class and then add you all in, and you can play around in it. Then I'm going to have questions. Then we'll talk about the apps that work with Google Classroom, because there are a number of EdTech tools that incorporate seamlessly with Google Classroom. It'll link out to, if you have the slide deck, that slide will link out to Google's, here are all the things that play nice with Google Classroom. We'll talk about some examples that aren't on that, and then we'll talk about the other LMSs that are out there and how well they play with or do not play with Google Classroom. So Google Classroom basics. Let's start with how you would get there. You could click on http://classroom.google.com, or of course you can go to your waffle, which, you know, well, it's not going to be there, but like your waffle right there in order to access Classroom. Then how you would create a class. You would click on the plus button. Now, since I made my slide deck, things have changed a little bit. So my slide deck does not 100% match everything we see, so we're gonna flop back and forth. So right here, it shows that you would click a button and this is what your interface looks like. But what I found is, it looks like this, and you would click here to create a class, join or create. Then, oops, keep popping out. Let's bring you back up. All right, so then you would press, this gives you the options, the 3 dots. I've heard it called the snowman or the ice cream cone. You could, where you have the options to move, edit, copy, or archive a class after you've created it or joined one. This shows you where the work is due in your stream, shows deleted items and the join code, or at least it did when I created it. Now, what you see is stream classwork people grades. And with classwork, this is where you can create things. People is all the people, and grades, which is also new. Because when I made it, it was stream students about, now there's more. You can manually add students with an invite code, or an invite rather, you can send them an email. If they happen to already be on your domain, your district's domain, you can just start typing in that student's last name or first name, and it will usually auto-complete their Gmail account that's on your domain and then just add them that way. Or you can invite them by giving them the class code. In the classroom interface, this talks about the about, but we don't have an about anymore. That would be, actually, I don't know where the about is now, or if there is even, oh, it's when you click the classroom settings, and that's where you can say things like description, section, room, subject, and then all the stuff where you can control some of the settings, because about is no longer a part. Then the course resources. This is where you would put announcements, assignments, questions, and more. And use reuse post option to post to multiple classes, which sort of works. Doesn't always work. I'll talk a little bit more about that. You can post announcements, which I found can sometimes get buried in the stream, which is kind of a bummer. This is where you put assignments. And if you do not put a calendar with that, your students are usually unaware of it. So it is important to include the date if you want your students to know about it. I learned that the hard way. Questions, you can create questions so that students can interact, and you can have on-the-spot conversations about digital citizenship, which I'm sure we all got to experience during distance learning. Reusing posts, this option allows you to reuse posts from any of your classes. And now demonstration time. Let's pop into our class over here. One of the things that is new is when you go to classwork and you choose to create an assignment, you can create an assignment, a quiz, question. This is where you can put material or reuse a post. And then there's topic, where you can choose what box everything goes into. Let's go ahead and create an assignment so you can see how in-depth things can be. You can create and add material. So let's call this example assignment. And then we can add stuff to it. So you can pull something from your Google Drive and just choose something at random. Let's go to, how about Screencastify? You can upload a video for the students to watch. Here, that one's fun. And then you give the instructions. Then over here, you can decide which of your classes to assign it to. Let's include beginner band with it. Watch the video. You can also add a link. So you could link to a Flipgrid where you could have them respond to things. You can link to a YouTube video. Include that. It helps if you already know the YouTube video, but let's just pick this one because why not? And then you would click assign. Now, just for funsies, if any of you would like to join this class, feel free to do that now by going to your Google Classroom. Every time I move, it brings up the Zoom stuff. All right, so you would just go here, go to Classroom, and then you would click Join Class, and that's where you would enter this code, which I don't know if many teachers have seen this before, but it was one that I really think is just a cool usability feature or accessibility feature. You bring this up on your big screen in the classroom and they go, I can't read the code. And you can hit that. It makes it a lot easier for everybody to see. And then this is where I would see if anyone's joined. This is also where you can choose to add teachers. And then again, you can start adding students. You could add students that way. And that's basically the classroom basics. At this point, April, are there any questions that popped up in the chat?
I've got a code isn't working message.
That could be because you are not necessarily on my domain. Does that sound right to people?
That sounds like it could be a problem to me.
Yeah. chances are, because this is on my account, and if you are on your district's website or your district's domain, rather, it may not let you join.
Yes, if you have a personal Google account and you'd like to try and join it that way, that may work a little better. You just switch over to your personal account and try to join his Google Classroom that way.
That's why I did it on my personal account, because I knew if I did it through my district one, unless you were a Bloomington teacher, it just wasn't going to happen. But yeah, I should have thought it went the other way too, because if you're on your school one, it's not going to work with my personal one. Are there any other questions?
That is all I have at this point.
Cool, 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 cool. All right, let's move on. This is where I'm going to want some audience participation. This is apps that work with Google Classroom. I know that when we went to distance learning, there were a whole bunch of new products or educational tools that you were probably flooded with by either your tech people or just emails that you received. Like, I had not heard of Edpuzzle, but whoo boy, is it cool. I had not heard of, well, like a number of the tools that are out there for that students can use for distance learning. And I had never heard of them, but suddenly I just got an inbox flooded with all these products that were offering free trials during COVID-19. And so if you're someone who likes to try new tools, this was a great time. If you're someone who wants to know how things work and explore it, you did not get the time for that. Now with the summer, it is possible to explore all those things, but it would be nice to know what actually works with your Google Classroom. And that's what this slide links out to. And it is apps that work #with Classroom. So here you can see some of the featured products. Not sure how they got a feature from Google. I'm not saying there was money involved, but there was probably money involved. But anyway, many of us have probably heard of Book Widgets or Brain Pop. You've probably also heard of Explain Everything. I'm a big fan of Flat because I use that for music notation. Edpuzzle, like I mentioned before, and you can sort them over here. So do you want a coding and computer science tool? That will show you the ones that work with that. How about coding, computer science, and STEM? You can use that as well. Sorry about that. Language arts, coding, and STEM. So you can find all sorts of different apps. The bummer that I found is there's no search that you can do here to see if your app works. So sometimes it's just a matter of exploring. For example, I'm a big fan of PhET. PhET is a free online physics, chemistry, and biology tool where you can do simulations, physics, blah, 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 right? It's currently given out free, but they would be more than happy to take your donations. So let's find a super fun, interactive thing. Let's do, see if I can find my favorite. Oh, this one's fun. Okay, so here it is. You can download it, you can embed it, but look at this little widget right here. If you want to include it with your Google Classroom, you can just click this icon and it will auto-magically, because you are already logged in with your Gmail account, if you do this on your school one, and just choose the class. Boom, choose action. Create assignment, go. And then for all students. Again, it's not going to pop up on their calendar unless you give it a due date. So let's say it's due tomorrow, and assign. Now, if you pop back into your class, in classwork, here it is. Now you can see it and you can view the assignments. Ooh, Sarah, you joined. Thank you. And so we can see if you've done it. Now, the thing is, I didn't give any sort of grade or rubric. So if you wanted to say that you had checked it out, you would just click mark as done, and then it would just be done. Does that make sense? Okay, let's come over here. Demonstrate. Oh, that was my demonstration. Does anyone, and this is where I would love if some folks would come off mute, does anyone have any examples of tools that they use with Google
This is
Classroom?
Carmen. I tried to do a word cloud last night for my lesson plan, and I wasn't getting anywhere. Do you have you done word clouds?
No, but let's see if we can figure it out together.
Okay,
What's
great.
the website?
I just Googled word clouds and a ton of stuff came up.
Okay. Do you remember which one you picked?
I just did the main word cloud.
Okay, let's. This one?
Yep.
Okay, and then what did you do?
So then what I wanted to do is I wanted my students to make one, well, my lesson plan is on birth order. So
Okay.
I wanted them to create a word cloud about themselves, how they fit into the birth order. So I wanted to have them make a word cloud with those terms like organized, you know, whatever. And I couldn't figure out how to make it into an assignment.
Okay. Word cloud is creating. Okay, so using this, how to make it into an assignment?
Right.
Okay, let's free word cloud generator. Nothing like exploring live. So what did you do next?
I didn't get any further.
Okay, fair enough. Has anyone else used word clouds before? Maybe we could start there. Otherwise, we can try to figure out this tool together.
I mean,
Free.
if it doesn't work for anybody else, that's fine. We can go ahead and move on. But I just that was one I had problems with, and I've heard when people talk about the different apps that work with Google, this is always one they say. So I thought, oh, that'd be a cool thing to use. And we did it yesterday in one of our. I think that was in one of the opening sessions. The woman wanted us to make this word cloud, all of us together, and I couldn't. I don't know what I did wrong.
Just for funsies.
I've used Wordle.net, and that one is pretty user-friendly. I've used it with elementary students. Like
Wordle?
Yep, Wordle.net.
So this one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And did you just click create?
Yep.
Paste a bunch of text. Did you, Jen, just share this with the students?
Yeah, but so I just had them type in the web address, and they had their list of words already prepared, and then you can either paste it in if you have it in like a Google Doc, or you can just type it in as you go.
Okay, so did you then just share this particular URL with the students?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Let's do this. Classwork, assignment. Got it, thank you. Word cloud. Add a link, paste, boom.
Okay. I'll try that.
Assign. Is there any, so far it's only Sarah Johnston who's in here, but just for funsies, it was about birth order.
Yeah. So like if you were firstborn, you were organized, you were, you know, that sort of stuff.
Can download and install, but I don't want to download the installable version.
Oh, so then where do we go?
Paste in a bunch of text.
So just type some words in, see what happens.
Only.
Mine said I had to install also.
Oh, okay, right on. Did that then work on Chromebooks for your littles?
I didn't use it, but I'm just saying I just tried doing it, and when I tried to do it, it said I had to install after I put in all the words.
Okay, first only.
When I used it, the students I had were using PCs. They didn't have Chromebooks. It wouldn't really work very well on a Chromebook on this particular one, but we kind of had issues with using any word cloud on a Chromebook. That really,
Got it.
so sorry, I didn't mean to steer you astray.
No,
Oh, that's
this is about exploring, right? In fact, one of the ISTE standards for educators is co-learn using a new educational tool. So we are fulfilling that.
So Drive also has a built-in word cloud creator.
It does.
Where's that?
I'm not super familiar with it, but when I click to preview a document in Drive,
Mm-hmm.
The little pop-up in the top along the very top edge that says open with,
Mhm.
click the little down arrow there. One of my connected apps is Drive Word Cloud.
Really?
So I'm guessing it's something you have to add. You have to actually connect it for it to work. But Drive Word Cloud is also an option.
Cool. And it's an
Oh,
extension you
okay.
can add Chrome. Well, I don't mind doing that because they're really easy to uninstall. Oh, look at you. Cute
Look
little
at
icon.
that. Okay.
Select a file from Google Drive. Cool. Create word cloud. Let's do that. Enter some text below. No, I don't want to enter text. Create a word cloud. Okay, create a word cloud. Okay,
Oh, there we go.
look at it. There it is. Neat. Okay, so just for funsies, since it is a Drive extension, you would think perhaps it would work with your Google Classroom, no?
One would think.
Drive, Cloud Convert, those aren't those. Where did you say it would pop up? Was it in your waffle?
It pops up when I preview something from Drive.
Okay, so like a docs, like a doc, right? Okay, I don't want you to see these. Let's pick a random doc. I've got to have a doc somewhere, right? Wouldn't you think? That's a doc.
Doc works with a PDF.
Oh, with a PDF?
Yep, it works with a doc or a PDF.
Let's do that one. Open with
There. Oh, no.
Cloud Drive to Mail,
No.
Cloud Convert.
Nope, there should be a connected app that says Drive Word Cloud.
Huh.
Okay, is it on this one if we go down?
Is it Word Cloud Generator? Drive Word Cloud?
Drive Word Cloud, yes.
Okay. It was connected to my Chrome, but it was not connected to my Drive.
Oh,
So let's do it again. Oh, did it not like the way I did that? Must not. Word. This one again? Sorry.
No, down 2.
This one.
Nope, one more. There you go.
Installed. Okay, it says it's installed. Let's.
Do you need to add an extension to Chrome? Is that the problem?
I added the extension up here, I thought, didn't I? Drive Word Cloud.
Because there are other extensions that they had. Because I was having that, so I tried and went and searched the store and found another one. I don't know if that would be easier or not. I'm trying like you.
Right on. Well, again, that's what this is. Word Cloud Generator, Word Cloud for Google Chrome. Wait, what was it? Drive Word Cloud. And that was the one you had, yes?
that's the one I use or have installed.
Well, these are the only ones that come up. Is this one of them? Let's open you then. We already did that. We already tried that. Drive. Select file from Google Drive. Oh, log in and authorize. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, good. Okay, so view or edit. Oh, there it is now. Just wanted to be reloaded. Create word cloud. Oh, create word cloud from this file. Oof. Arrow 0. Oh, fun. Completed. Well, poo. But I can see how it would work if it was working. Does that make sense?
I'll just keep trying. I will try that Drive word cloud and see what I can get. I don't really need it before on my lesson plan. I was just trying to put my Google thing together and I was having trouble. So I'll leave it on my lesson plan and keep working on it. So
For sure. I'd be curious what you discover.
okay.
But awesome. All right, we're gonna move on.
Another question in chat.
Oh, good.
Marcia's wondering which video creation tools work best on Chromebooks and how you can create videos that we can share in Google Classroom.
Okay, that's funny. That's what my session was yesterday. Let's, well, what? Wrong one. Let's go to my website, training resources, Best Prep 2020. This one. I'm a big fan of WeVideo and Screencastify, but the issue is WeVideo is stupid expensive unless your district is willing to pay for it. So Screencastify is one that I prefer. And when you say video creation, do you mean like you talking to camera, you demonstrating something? What do you mean here? Like what specifically are you going for? What use case?
I want my students to create videos to share with each other.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
And yeah, we have no money for anything, so it has to be free. Of course.
Right. There is a free version of WeVideo that doesn't have as many of the bells and whistles, and then it will have the created in WeVideo, like watermark in the corner. And I believe if you get a teacher version free, it comes with 30 like student positions, but that's a real easy way for them to create and share with each other. Loom is my understanding, Loom is 100% free for educators as long as you sign in with a domain that is an educator domain.
That's Loom, L-O-O-M?
L-O-O-M. In fact, they have an extension right here, Loom for Chrome. So what Loom is let's just get started with it. Screen and cam, there's me. So you would just do this. And it works entirely in Chrome, so it is just like it's an extension that your students would click. Screencastify is the same. With Screencastify, if it's a student add-on, the limit is like 5 minutes. You can't go over 5 minutes. I think Loom might be similar, not 100% sure on that. But when you decide you're done, kids would then click. Oh, no, that's Screencastify. Oops. Let's go to Loom. And then it's going to bring this up. And you can copy the link, you can send it, and it will automatically move to a folder that you've created on your Google Drive. So your students can do with Loom or Screencastify. So it is just, anyway, the idea is they can then create a video in Screencastify or Loom. It goes to their Google Drive and they can share it with whoever.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
So Rick, it looks like we have another question. Mark is asking about his art class, if he can use Google Classroom to have breakout meetings, chats, exchanges for art, and then have them come back to the classroom. So get started with the sketch, come back into the classroom to check in with their progress. So sort of a breakout room.
Okay, that is going to be a feature that's going to come with Meet for Enterprise. If you're familiar with Zoom, Zoom has like baked into the paid version where you can create breakout rooms. In fact, just for funsies, stop share. I could click this button here, that breakout room, assign 9 participants into 2 rooms, or blah, blah, blah. You can't see what I'm doing, but you can create breakout rooms along the bottom. That is a feature that is going to be coming to Meet for Enterprise, meaning if district pays for, like Google for Education is free, but if you pay for like the extra bells and whistles, that is a feature that's going to be coming to Meet in the next 2 or 3 weeks/months, depending on when they can bring it to market. And that would give you specific breakout rooms where people can do what we're doing now, right? They can chat with each other. Is that what you mean, like breakout room? Or Marty, do you want to come off mute and talk about this?
So I had used Google Classroom almost exclusively just to get into it. And I would run through all of the setup that we walked through. But one of the things that I wanted to do was try to do synchronous meetings this year instead of just all asynchronous, and get some feedback and let them also develop relationships. So I was thinking of assigning 2 or 3 people to a group and have them do their, I'm looking for a platform that will let them collaborate with a group of 2 or 3 people and then come back into the group. And I'm just completely a novice with anything like that.
Okay, so here's my initial thought on what you could potentially do. Let's say you have your Google Classroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could, and this would be kind of fussy on like what you would have to do, but let's say we create an assignment. And you would break out room 1, do the stuff here. And then when you assign, you just pick the students that you want in the specific breakout room. And then with that, you can add a Meet to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you would add a specific Meet to each of the breakout rooms that you create when you assign it.
Okay. So you do the same thing for groups of 2 or 3 students, and then not sure how they would come back in. And
then, well, then like again, this is just my initial thought. Then the next thing would be, you would say, okay, here's breakout room, meet with your partner on this Google Meet at this time. They meet at that time, and then have another meet that you invite everyone to. So it'd be breakout room would be one assignment, right? And then you would have another one that's everybody, and then assign that to all the students, and then they could come back in and meet that way. Does that make sense? So it'd be,
well, it's a little clearer than mud, but like you can see, can you see everybody that's on this session right now?
I could, if I do stop share, then come up here and I put it on grid view. So I can see April, me, Christine. Are you frozen, Christine, or do you have a question?
I have an add-in, but I put my finger up so I remember my add-in.
Okay, so I see, it's not this, but you were very still. But yeah, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 of us if I'm in grid view, which
Okay.
there has been an extension for Meet that was grid view that worked, then it didn't, then it did, then it didn't, then it did, then it didn't. And now you can
Okay.
have a tile version with up to 16 people in
Okay.
Meet. But okay,
So I have
yeah.
an
So you'll
add-in
be
that
looking.
might help
Go ahead.
Marty. So I have a leadership group, so I have a lot of kids that have to collaborate anyway, even in the classroom.
Mhm.
So to do the visual, we usually use Zoom, and we do it like this because you can do where you see everybody and you can collaborate. But also if you use your Google Docs, your Google PowerPoints, the students can work collaboratively on all of those features. They just don't visually see each other, but they can type messages to each other and then come back and do like a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet meeting and
Hmm.
visually see each other to discuss and collaborate. I use that in
Okay.
the classroom all the time.
So in other words, then to kind of round this up and wrap it up, I would use Google Classroom to explain in detail the assignment, the rubrics, show them examples with videos or YouTube videos or whatever, and then have a synchronous meeting with everyone at a certain time of the day. And then we could do the breakouts somehow, which is still behind the cloak, which I don't quite understand.
If I were you, I would let the kids figure out when they can meet, and they have, you just put in your assignment, you must meet visually at some point before this time. And the kids will figure it out, whether it's by phones,
Yeah.
whether it's by Zoom.
Yeah.
They've got their ways.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
My experience with that is if I give them all of the freedom, they take it and they go work on their core subjects in that art. And then, the assignments get put off to the very last minute. I'd like to be able to see that they're linking up with somebody and then check back with me somehow and show me what they've done.
Trust me, I get them going to core subjects and putting the specialists on the back burner, beginner band.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I fully understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to get to. Here are the other LMSs that exist. If you have access to my bit.ly, the idea here is if you are using any of these as your core learning management system, each one of these will link out to how you would potentially incorporate your Google Classroom with it. For example, my district uses Infinite Campus for grades. I have a son who's entering 9th grade and a daughter who's entering 4th grade. So while my daughter was all about the Seesaw and my students in 5th grade were all about the Seesaw, he was working with Infinite Campus. All his teachers were using Google Classroom, but any assignment that was past due or whatever incorporates seamlessly with Infinite Classroom. Canvas, here's a link out to a video how you can do that. Power School, Schoology, Moodle, D2L, Seesaw, which I included just because, well, that's my life right now, and Blackboard. There are probably many, many others, but these are the ones, and each one shows you the various degrees to which Google Classroom plays nice or doesn't, if that makes sense.
I have one question.
Yes, please.
Really quick, short question.
No.
So you said that Google Classroom will link up with Infinite Campus?
It does. It takes a little bit of back-end stuff, and you may have to talk to your tech person because your tech person might not have turned everything on necessarily. But I know for a fact, just from my experience as a parent, seeing that my son's Google Classroom stuff, anything that got graded, like any assignment that was due or past due, depending on the situation in the class, would then show up in Infinite Campus. And my district in Bloomington, we have our own proprietary thing called the Hub. And so grades are done in Infinite Campus and then shunted to the Hub. The idea behind the Hub is that's the parent-facing interface where the parents can go and see stuff. But as a teacher, I had access to Infinite Campus, so I could see there was like a one-day lag between Infinite Campus and the Hub. But they all play nicely.
Good news.
So.
Good. Great.
Just because I'm looking at all your faces now, at least the ones with cameras on. Just by kind of show of hands, the ones that I mentioned, anyone use Infinite Campus in your district? Right on. That's kind of the hotness here. Schoology, it's not really big in Minnesota. You also use Schoology too?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, in our options program, but
Okay.
which I was also teaching. But anyway, mostly Infinite Campus.
I just finished another master's, and it was primarily D2L. Does anyone use D2L or have had experience for grad classes? Like I included D2L, but for the most part, it seems to be a college thing. I don't know too many K-12 schools that use it. Any of the other ones? Anyone that I didn't list that you use? So I'm just kind of curious what else is out there here in Minnesota. So I'm assuming, are we all from Minnesota?
In Laverne, we've been using Seesaw for the elementary, and I'm 5th grade, so I'm, of course, considered upper, and so we kind of mingled Seesaw and Google Classroom, but I didn't know Seesaw was paired with Classroom, so that would have been good to know.
It is and it isn't. Like, I'm gonna share my screen again.
Okay.
This is something I didn't know either, because one of my biggest frustrations was with Seesaw, that I had already created my Google Classrooms, invited everyone, and then to create my Seesaw classes, I had to then invite each one of my students into my specific Seesaw class. But, oh, come on, man. Nope, why isn't that working? Nope, that's the wrong one too. Anyway, this should link out to a video that shows how you can take your Google Classroom and import all the students into your Seesaw. There's a video that shows how to do that,
Okay.
which is,
and that's on your Bitly page.
it should be. I'm not one.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out why. Did I not link it? I swear I did. As I click this, it just keeps moving forward. Well, poo. If I didn't do it, I'll do it now. But actually, one more thing, because we're like 3 minutes to the end. As I recently was brought into the Google Innovator Project, I became a Google Innovator, and the idea behind that is you create a how might we question that deals with something you see that's lacking in education. And what my thing is in cultural representation. So what I'm looking for is, do you have a go-to website or resource that you use when you are trying to represent the cultures that are in your classroom? Like, for example, if you were to click on this, it brings you to my Google form, and this kind of explains how one of the issues is a lot of teachers look like this, and not a lot of our students do. And if you want to represent the culture that is in front of you, it's nice to have the resources. And there's a lot of history of other music and literature that exists that a lot of teachers don't know about. So I'm trying to create a database of that. And if you have a go-to link, throw it there, tell me what it's for, and that's it. That's like the whole form. It's not very long, not asking for a lot. So if you do happen to have any resources, I would love to collect them. And thank you. So now, again, any other questions?
I'm sorry, but I have a really dumb one, and I apologize.
I bet it is.
Where is the thing where we're supposed to click that we were here? I haven't done that the whole time, and then I got this thing yesterday.
That I don't know. Does anyone know?
I think you do that at the agenda, and you can click on the Monday calendar and then the Tuesday calendar.
Okay, so I'll try
Once
that.
you're in the Monday calendar, once you're in the Monday calendar,
Didn't have it, and so Stephanie, I think was her name, said just reply to her that you've been to them and which one.
Oh, okay, all right.
Some
Yes,
of the
I
breakout
didn't.
have it. The big speaker ones, like the big ones, did, but some of the breakouts it didn't click in. So it's below it on that agenda page once it's over.
Okay.
In theory.
I think if you complete your session survey as well, that will also tell them that you've been there. So
I've done that.
complete those session surveys as you finish up your sessions. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you, Rick, for your wonderful presentation.
You're very welcome.
And troubleshooting on the fly, we appreciate that. Again, your presentations are all recorded and available to you to view up to a year from now. So feel free to come back and view those presentations at your own pace whenever needed.
Okay, thanks, Rick.
Thank you. This was fun. I've done a number of presentations, but I haven't done this one before. So this was fun.